have a pineapple. What's Tepache? Tepache is a wonderful pre-Columbian drink, but let's get to that later. First up, I'm going to break up a cinnamon stick and throw in some mulling spices into a quart of simmering water. I'm simmering these in order to release a few more aromatics, but this is the first time I'm using that Penzeys spice blend, so let's see how this goes. After that, I'm tossing in a large cone of piloncillo and trying to get that dissolved. Some recipes out there will say that you can use white or brown sugar instead of piloncillo, and while correct that it will work, every batch that I've made with this raw panela has turned out significantly better than the processed ones. Aside from releasing more aromatics from our warm spices, this heat will also help dissolve the sugar, and when it's fully mixed, cut the heat so it can cool. And while that cools, we cut the pineapple. One thing I love about Tepache is that it uses pineapple scraps. Toss out the head and heel, but the skins and core, that's what we want. And this also leaves the meat up for grabs, which is why I make this pretty much every time we cut into a pineapple. This fermentation process is actually a lot like kombucha. The largest difference is that instead of a SCOBY to inoculate our sweet tea, we're using the wild yeast and bacteria from the pineapple skins. I would talk about the health benefits of drinking this with the live probiotics and such, but I'm just a dude who makes booze in my kitchen and basement, so you shouldn't take any medical advice from me. Back to the history. Tepache is originally from South Mexico and Central America, and it's debated whether it came from the Nahuas people or the Mayans, but the word Tepache has its roots in the Nahuatl language, which roughly translates to corn drink. Over the years of colonization, this drink was made commonly in homes to escape high taxes on other beverages. Prepared with what was left over, placed in a bowl to ferment, and in a couple of days became a light yellow to dark gold, tangy, sweet drink. And because it was a common homebrew, lots of regional differences and house recipes were developed, but the base is the same: pineapple, unprocessed sugar, and aromatics. Now you can have fun with this yourself. I've seen and tried variations with other fruit juices included like guava and tamarind. One of my favorites involved dropping a habanero in it. And now with that, our pineapple is cut and our sugar water solution is blood warm. Time to pour it on top of all of our pineapple scraps. And yes, before you say anything, spilling is mandatory. Now, you can just cover this up with a cheesecloth. I've opted to sealing it up with an airlock because I have kombucha off screen and I don't want to mix my cultures. That will sit for 3 or so days or until the sugars are mostly fermented away. And no, it will not get boozier the longer it sits. The alcohol created from this is turned into vinegar, again, like kombucha. So the longer it sits, the more tangy it will get. And again, my process for Tepache is a little different with every batch. I let this one sit for a full week. I let it fully ferment so I could test out these fizz drops I have left over from a Northern Brewer kit to see if I could bottle condition it this way. So I take each of these drops and I struggled to get these in. This did not look pretty for me. And then after I got the pills in there, I got a funnel and I started ladling the Tepache in ever so slowly. Seal it up, shake it up, leave it at room temp for 2 weeks so it could fully carbonate on its own. And now, my favorite part of bottling, the bottler's cut. The little bit left over that doesn't quite fit into a bottle that you get to sample. The flavors and colors aren't going to be right because there's extra sediment or trub or lees, but it's still a fun sample and a reward for finishing bottling.
Wonderful. That's so good. Oh, the spice really comes through on this one though. I'm really glad I used that blend rather than underspicing it myself. I need to use. That's so good.
2 weeks later.
I was really hoping that would make a noise. I guess my carbonation didn't work. But still strong pineapple smell. Still a little bit of warm spice. Oh, that clove really comes through hard. In a good way. I'm not complaining about it. But if there was any more in there, I probably would. Still good pineapple acidity. And then it kind of just vanishes and gives you that warm spice flavor. This is great. Kind of wish there were bubbles in it, but I also don't want to be that guy who cracks his open. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy. So I'd rather be flat and a little sweeter than I expected than to have to mop my ceiling. Homebrew City, homebrewing the Brew City. Cheers.